I've been up here. I unapologetically have pointed out, African Americans and coaches and executive positions who deserve opportunities. One of the reasons I'm all over Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati, who hasn't won a playoff game in 14 years, is because what right do I have to point to anybody if I refuse to point to a man that can't win a playoff game in 14 years? Whether he's African American or not, it doesn't mean you get the job done. The same is applicable to Jerry Reese. There is no way around this. There is one playoff appearance since 2011 when they won the Super Bowl. But the biggest thing, and I agree with you, Max, in terms of your decision, in terms of what they need to do, but I'll go a step further. They need to clean house, period. And you know the biggest reason they need to clean house? Tom Coughlin. Yes, he missed the playoffs for, 4 straight years. He deserved to go, even though he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. But I always thought he got screwed over. And the reason why I felt that Tom Coughlin got screwed over by the New York Giants is because they said we need change.
Yeah.
And he was the only thing they changed. It was like you said everything was his fault. And what we have now learned is that it was not. It was not just Tom Coughlin. This goes from the top on down. And the owner's not going to get rid of themselves, and they don't need to do that because as an ownership group, by and large, they've been more than respectable, and we get that. But from Jerry Reese on down, they need to clean house. I'm not a fan of Ben McAdoo as the coach, personally. He was the offensive coordinator. They were top 10 offense. Ever since he's taken over, their offense dropped 25th last year. Lord knows what the hell it is now. You look at coordinators. You look at the general manager. Even if you look at Eli Manning, Eli Manning has reached a point in his career where the one thing we can say about him is actually two things we can say about him. He's respectable and he's very reliable. He shows up to work every day. He's a consummate professional. He hasn't missed a start in his career, for crying out loud. In the 13 years that he's been a full-time starter, he hasn't missed a game. This dude is as steady as they come. But the league has changed. And now you've got to be mobile as a quarterback unless you have the right system and the right coach to offset that. Drew Brees is not mobile, but he's Drew Brees. And by the way, Sean Payton knows a thing or two about offense. Aaron Rodgers speaks for itself. Tom Brady is not mobile, but Tom Brady, with that system that Bill Belichick has in place, is able to offset that. But almost everybody else has wheels. Eli Manning doesn't have that, and he doesn't have the right system. Didn't have the right system with Coughlin, clearly doesn't have the right system with McAdoo. And as a result, by the time it takes for you to get the requisite pieces to turn this thing around, he's 36, he turns 37 in January, okay? So you look at it from that perspective, and the fact that he hasn't had much of an offensive line and the hits that he has taken, I think now is the time where you move, not to bench him, don't get me wrong, but you need to plan for a new era, and it needs to be with new personnel, not just on the field, but in your front office.
I agree with your analysis on Eli not having wheels, and so the system has to be right in the modern NFL, and they haven't had the right system recently. The good news is, knock wood, Eli doesn't miss games, right? So if you bring in a young quarterback who you invest a high draft pick in, or the right quarterback, backup, who can learn under Eli, you have a guy who can hold it down while that young guy is learning and who seems to be declining, although he's still solid. Here's what I see from Eli this year, and it was pretty obvious from early in the season. He's not getting himself killed for this team. Jerry Reese has failed to protect him on the offensive line. There were two, the guard and the centers the center and the guards he got right. But the tackles were just guys are just going, there's no protection there. They can't block for the run. They can't block the pass rush. And so protect the quarterback. And so Eli seems to me to be a mid-late 30s quarterback with a consecutive games played streak, who's won 2 Super Bowls, who's looking at the guys who are trying to protect him, looking at the kind of dysfunction of the group and saying, I'm not getting killed for this. And for Eli to succeed, he needs to play in an inspired way, not an uninspired way.
So you're saying get rid of Reese, you're saying get rid of Reese, McAdoo, and Eli.
I'm saying get rid of everybody,
Yep.
and prepare for Eli
for the
to
future.
be gone.